with many foreign substances. The inner work of growing in insight helps precipitate out many of the contaminants, enabling us to return to the clarity of our own true natures. We become individuated, living not as Moses, the Buddha, Jesus, or Muhammad, but as the precious, unique, non-repeatable experiments of the universe that we are. So part of the process of growing into the unique, vital, wise human whom we are capable of being is to continue to love and affirm who we are, even as we fall short sometimes. And for some, even as we grow into the second half of life, to love and affirm our bodies, our minds, emotions, and spiritual nature, along with any diminishments or changes. Loving the self really means learning to trust the process of becoming, to understand, accept, forgive, and hope, and see possibilities that continue to shape us now and into the future. Our self-concept rises out of the messages that we give ourselves about what our world is, who we are in relationship to this world, and our experiences, and what we are worth. We talk to ourselves more than we do to anyone else, which flows from our intrapersonal intelligence. Two elements of this type of internal communication include the self-talk we use to interpret the world we experience, creating our reality, and the messages we send through our brain, building or tearing down our own self-concept. Take the time to observe this inner dialogue throughout the day to discover how often you speak mindlessly to yourself. Oh, I should have done better. I should have already known. I missed that deadline. All this mindless speaking occurs when we are insensitive to the destructive, negative thoughts that feed ourselves. Another examples of negative self-talk include, I never get things right. I'm over the hill and not important anymore. I just don't have what it takes. So we're going to do an exercise now called Meet Me, excuse me. And with the following exercise, we are promoting our whole brain synchronicity, the use of both hemispheres of the brain in an activity. Each hemisphere processes information differently. The left hemisphere is more logical, sequential, step-by-step in its thinking, while the right hemisphere is more creative, spontaneous, and looks for the bigger picture. Whole brain awareness creates a balance, joining analytical thinking with intuitive, symbolic thinking, which amplifies the richness of our experience, expanding our understanding and deepening our insight. As we unleash our brain's potential to look at an experience in a variety of ways, we learn to meet the challenges of life with the capacity to see many more possibilities for solution and direction. So it really opens us up when we can use all of what we have. So if you would take out your handout titled Meet Me, this one, and read the boxes. Wait, I'll wait till everybody gets back. There we go. So read the boxes to find out what you are to write down for each of the picture frames. Don't judge or filter what comes up. It's important to be as spontaneous as you can. You'll have about 5 minutes or so to do this, and please maintain the silence if you are one of the first ones to finish. Then we'll come to another exercise. This is just some nice background music for you so that you can open up your brain. Okay. Let's just pause the music for a minute. So that's the first part of the exercise. And then next, if you can take a clean sheet of paper, place it in front of you in landscape mode this way. And if you can tape it down on your desk if you're able to. Don't worry about it if you can't. That's okay. So then take the handout that you just completed and put it above the paper that you taped down or laid down, not on top of it, but above it, so that you can see it and your clean sheet of paper is right in front of you. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So choose 2 colors, crayons or markers, whatever you have available. One will represent your strengths, and the other one will represent your non-strengths. You love how I said that, non-strengths. So one color represents your strengths, and another color represents your non-strengths. If you don't have 2 different colors available, that's okay. Don't worry about it. If you do, it just will add to this. So place the color that represents your best self in your dominant hand, either your right hand or your left hand, and the color that represents your not so best self in your non-dominant hand. Okay, now this is not a work of art that we're going to be putting up in a gallery, so don't worry about that part. But you'll now simultaneously, at the same time, I want you to draw a picture of yourself on the clean paper using both hands. It's a good brain exercise. Let your pictures reflect words, images, or symbols that represent all 3 aspects of your life that you have in the handout, the 3 framed the exercise you just did. Number 1. Try not to rely only on your logical mind. This is the real challenge. Draw this picture as if you're doodling. In other words, be in the flow and let whatever wants to express itself flow onto the paper. Don't worry about artistic perfection. Your goal is to gain more insight into who you are. So we're just going to let that image emerge. So, and when you're finished drawing, reflect on your picture, put a title on it, and journal about your experience and any new insights you might have gained. So while we can get ourselves in the right frame of mind for this, just take a minute and sit back in your chair, uncross your feet if they're crossed, and let's just take 3 deep breaths together so we can get in the mood. Okay, so let's take a nice deep abdominal inner breath in, breathe in. And just allow it to breathe out. Sigh of relief. So breathe in again from your abdomen. And just provide yourself with a sigh of relief. And one more in. And a sigh of relief. And let your shoulders drop along with your breath going out. Okay. So when you're finished drawing, think about your picture, title it, and journal about your experiences and any new insights that you might have. Any questions before we start? All set? We've got, I think, 10 minutes.
Judy, Linda?
Yes.
I'm just a little tiny bit confused about this exercise.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So are we drawing 2 different pictures?
You're drawing one picture.
Okay, one
but
picture.
You're using both hands.
Both hands. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And let me just read through that one more time. Let your pictures reflect words, images, or symbols, or all of the above, that represent all 3 aspects of the life of your life that you put in that handout number 1. Okay, the 3 pictures on the first one. And try not to rely just on your logical mind. Draw it as if you're just doodling. In other words, be in the flow and let whatever wants to express itself flow onto your paper. That represents those 3 images that you just drew. Your goal is to gain more insight into who you are, so you want to just let that image emerge. And then when you're finished drawing, reflect on the picture, give it a title, and do some journaling. Okay? And just whatever, don't worry about it. So go ahead now, and then, hi, Richard.
Hi.
That's okay. If you want to work on this handout first,
Okay.
and then I think you heard some of those directions.
No.
Okay. All right, let's do this. And I believe, Judy, you're going to start up our music again. And we have about 10 minutes. So show of hands, everybody like that exercise? Was it a good exercise? Not an easy one necessarily, but okay, good. Now I'm going to ask you, we're going to go into dyads, which every time we've done the Heart of Aging workshop series, going into dyads and talking about it is always everybody's favorite part of this. So I want to ask you to share and explain your drawings with your dyad partner. And each of you will have about 5 minutes to do that. And Judy, will you be putting up a sign that says the other person's turn or something? I forget what it says. Will you be doing that? You're muted.